Hoop segments. This one needs to be 65-degree bend. I have already made hoop segments on a previous project where I 3D printed the parts and then either used fiberglass and resin or I used JB Weld to strengthen the parts enough. And so you can see that in a previous video. I have a whole nother book on that and how I created those parts. But we're going to take those hoop segments from that, and I'll take the video that I used to make these hoop segments, because they're going to be the same size, and we'll see how far off they are to the threaded one. I know they're going to be long enough. 22.75 was actually a bottom hoop segment for that design, but right here, 22.73, or if you round up, 74. So we know that that bottom hoop segment is long enough to fit the top segment. So what we have on the bottom is long enough, so the top one may be even longer. So we know we should be good. This is from the previous project where we 3D printed these pieces and then assemble it. We got 3 flats off of it, that's all I did. I just wanted to test out the concept. I think I would rather have fiberglass than JB Weld, but I just wanted to see if it was strong enough. I knew fiberglass was. Now what we're going to do is take these bolts out. That's good. So this should be, yeah, that's 38 inches there. So we know we're good. And that, I believe, and I think it's still marked on one of these, this is 22.8 inches, something like that, pretty close to it. We'll get these taken off so we can reuse it. And once we get those broken down, then we'll show the video. So right now I'm bending these to the setting I had for the 38-inch hoop. So we probably got 2 1/4 inches that we chopped off the old one. And now we're at 12 inches in the bend. We had to do that because what I noticed, about 14 inches, which would make sense because now this one is 12. And I noticed when I was putting this on that this spar and the spar attachment here, or the hoop attachment, was too low when I connected it to the top. And I've still got some work to do on these. So let's put this in here. So now we have this hoop segment in, which is long enough. But what was happening before is when we were going here, we weren't able to reach the top at the angle we needed, and it looks like now we're good to go. So those hoop segments are going to be good, and I can thread this up further if I need to. So we're going to bring it up. So now you can kind of see with this one, because it's still in the same position as it was before, you can see how much lower it is. And I could just make a longer one and thread these out if I wanted to. Yeah, they're all going to fit in, I believe. Because even with that one right there, it'll almost touch it. So when I move it up by 2 inches or so, and I still have room here on this one, I can thread it up some. So we're going to cut just above those threads. Take that 2 inches off, 2 1/4 or whatever, rethread another 2 inches on, and then bring that up. We're getting really close to the 3D model. We've got these hooked in. We've got to cut this. We're going to cut these threads off. That'll move that up. Thread it another 2 inches, so this piece will move up. Like I was saying before, is you could just put more threads on here, especially on this side, and use a longer 1-inch piece. That's 3 inches long. You could make it 6 inches. If you had cut this one at 16 and you had extra 1-inch pipe, but you don't have extra 3/4 inch pipe. I do, so I'm just gonna take this one back to what the original model was, and instead of 16 inches here, we're gonna go back to that 18. I've still got to come in, trim these down. I've got to drill the holes on these spar connection pieces so that that'll slide in easier. I've got it trimmed down just a little bit so it'll fit in, but I want the whole piece to fit in. So we'll put those in the vise, we'll drill those out. But we're just looking at, is it fitting together? And right now it's looking pretty good. The base is a little wider. I need to thread this connection in here to bring that in some. To run these through the roller, they're a little longer than they should be. It's matching the scale model. You'll notice that the swing arms here are shorter. These are almost touching the ground. And that's really what we needed once we fit it on. These I was just trying to get a rough idea based on what I had seen on other swing arms. And once we actually made these, we also had to shorten the swing arm connection. So the swing arm connection was shortened, so it doesn't match the scale model. We actually cut it off just a little bit above the pinhole and then put another pinhole in it. And we had to, instead of having the pinhole on the side, we had to bring the pinhole perpendicular to the 3/4 inch hole here. We had to bring that pin hole perpendicular to where it actually threads on to the swing arm.